I have to chat. I have a real question. Noah texts me and says, "Let's record at 5:30."
Okay.
I
had to wait for Tyler.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Set up 5:30. It is 5:36, and the guy's still not in here. Like, whatever happened to punctuality?
You see me now.
Whatever happened to punctuality?
I had to wait for Tyler to move his stuff out of here and send an email.
Why is he in your room?
His desk is in here.
In your room?
Yeah. Bro, I guess you don't really know the living situation right now.
Bro, you guys need you need help. You need help. You guys all need serious help. You guys are 30 years old. All right. So we're gonna start today. We got a jam-packed day. I mean, you guys wouldn't know that because the videos don't come out all at once. But we're gonna start today with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which their 2023 record was 9-8. They went 4-4 at home and 5-4 away.
4-2 in the division.
4-2 in the division, a weak division, but still handled business. And then maybe the easiest bet of my entire life was the Bucks +3. I bet the Bucks -3, and I bet the Bucks money line in the playoffs. They beat the Eagles 32-9. Absolutely smoked them.
It was ugly.
The Eagles didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell. No. Great job winning the division, but ultimately, I think really the story of it all is their juice is gone. Dave Canales has left the building. Before Dave Canales got in the building, Todd Bowles was seriously on the hot seat. And this goes back to your original point of why having a defensive-minded head coach could at times be tough. And I think that this is an embodiment of it.
Yeah, losing your offensive coordinator sucks, especially when he was like the glimmering hope and turned Baker Mayfield around. But yeah, still, end of the day, hell of a season if you're a Buccaneers fan. I don't really think many of them expected to have the type of year they did. I mean, they won a playoff game, won the division. Like,
I think everybody probably slated them to be last in the division. I think everybody pretty much slated them to suck.
Yeah. So
and they didn't.
They did not.
Played way above expectations. So roster losses or organizational losses. I said it already. Dave Canales. I feel like that's a big one. Shaq Barrett. We talked about him with the Dolphins. He left, but ultimately just retired. It sounds like he was done. Carlton Davis, Devin White. Do you have anybody else? And ultimately, like, I don't know, like all those players, I think Carlton Davis is pretty good. The ones I named so far, but Shaq Barrett and Devin White. I mean, like Devin White hasn't really been that good the last few years, and Shaq Barrett was playing on the back nine.
Yeah, Devin White is in a prove it year right now. See if he still has any juice left, basically. So, what about Ryan Jensen and Russell Gage? Jensen, sorry.
Yeah,
did Ryan Jensen retire?
Yeah, he retired, and ultimately Russell Gage just didn't pan out. I thought that he would be decent with the Bucks, but he was just injured the entire time, and I mean, it is what it is. That's life. So I didn't really put that as something that I needed to be brought up. But Ryan Jensen, obviously, he was a great O-lineman for them, and he hurt his knee and just could really never get back to who he was, it sounds like, and ultimately had to retire.
That's like a guy, that's like what you want as a stereotypical offensive lineman, just like nasty, maybe missing a front tooth, will punch you right in the face. So
definitely.
So it sucks losing a guy like that.
No, for sure. And I'm sure him never not being healthy was rough for them.
Yeah.
And I will get into that because there is some roster turnover that over the last few years, it's pretty significant for them. Additions, Sterling Shepard, they drafted Jalen McMillan, drafted Bucky Irving, signed Randy Gregory, drafted Graham Barton, and then Braswell is also signed him in free agency. I like Jalen McMillan. Bucky Irving's an okay player. He seems kind of the same guy as Rashad White. Randy Gregory's a million years old. I really liked Graham Barton. He's kind of a utility guy on the front, on the line. I think he probably will end up playing center for them. I'm not sure.
That's what it's looking like right now.
but I don't love it. Like, I feel like bringing in Sterling Shepard like is random. Same with
Yeah.
Randy Gregory. Uh, Nothing significant, I guess, is what I'm really trying to get at here with the additions that they made this offseason, unless if you have any other ones that you want to
Did
go
you say
over.
Jordan Whitehead?
No, Jordan Whitehead as well, which I think that, like, I know that he played in Tampa Bay before and they were extremely happy to get him back. So I think maybe he had some juice with the Jets, obviously, and then getting him back in the building where he's reunited with his coach. Like, I think that that could be significant for him. I think between him and Antoine Whitfield Jr., I feel like that's like a really solid safety duo.
Yeah, I was gonna say pairing those two guys together is definitely nothing to complain about.
So what I really want to get into is like the roster turnover. It feels like these guys for the next, I know they won a playoff game last year and that was amazing, but it feels like that they're going to be in a situation where they're going to be in like the winning 7 to 9 game area until they have like a real conversation with everybody and be like, all right, it's time to rebuild this roster. Like, you
Yeah.
obviously lost Tom Brady, you lost Shaq Barrett, you lost Ryan Jensen. I forget the guard that they lost right after Brady left, but the year that Brady came back, but he was a great player as well on the O line. This team is just starting to age out a little bit, it feels like,
Yeah.
in all positions, and you're losing guys and free agency, and guys who are playing at their peak aren't in their peak anymore. And it might be time for a roster reset for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At least I feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think the only thing that might be holding them back from wanting to go in and do that is just the fact that they play in such a weak division. But honestly, one of the benefits is you could probably reset your team and be not far away from being the best team in a couple years in the division that they're in as of right now. So
I think that's fair.
I think that wouldn't be the worst thing. I don't know. I just don't see like a ton of talent a ton of young talent on this team. Um, I mean, they obviously have Tristan Wirfs. He's probably one of the best tackles in the NFL, I think. But like, and I do like Graham Barton, but obviously hasn't played it down.
Yeah.
But they're just getting older and older, and I don't know.
And
Like they did give Baker Mayfield this deal. Was that the best
ulti-
thing? I don't know.
ultimately, what we can really go down to is Baker's extremely inconsistent. He hasn't been consistent the entire time he's been in the NFL. He either has a decent season or a god awful season, and it really depends on who his offensive coordinator is. It feels like Dave Canales got the best out of him, but he ultimately left the building. It seemed like Stefanski got the best out of him, but it seemed like over time that Baker wasn't going to be able to do what Stefanski wanted, and ultimately they moved on from him. We watched that happen. He's extremely inconsistent, and you really don't know what you're going to get from Baker Mayfield from a year-to-year basis. So I think that like having Baker as your quarterback is an L.
I will say I will give Baker his flowers. He's gritty as hell, and when things are going well with Baker Mayfield, it can be electric. Um,
Electric.
but
What games are you watching? Electric?
okay, for Baker Mayfield standards, yeah. When they're winning and like he's playing decent, like he gets fired up, and I think that's fun to watch.
That is saying that Baker Mayfield is electric. Like, you should
It's not like
relinquish
it's
that from your vocabulary.
it's not like it's every moment of every game, but like
You like are like
he's
Baker Mayfield. Like, Baker Mayfield is like the Zach Wilson of like Baker Mayfields.
I don't even know what that means.
Like, you get fired up when Baker Mayfield like runs to the outside and does the high step high knees, and he's literally the slowest person on the field.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
I just think that I think great. You can give Baker his flowers if you really want to, but he sucks. I don't care if he had an
I
up
mean,
year last year.
of
I think
course,
he's
I still think he's bad.
I think he's a borderline starter in the NFL. And if he's your answer at quarterback, I think you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, there's no disagreeing there. I was just
Well, you
trying to
said he was
not be so negative.
electric.
I was trying to give him some credit. Like he
You
still
made
had.
it sound like Lamar Jackson is electric.
Okay, maybe I should have whispered the word electric, but because that's
Okay.
fair. But yeah, I mean,
Something
for the
else
most
that I
part, go ahead.
something else that I do want to talk about as well outside of Baker Mayfield is I really don't love the core that they have on offense currently. Mike Evans, obviously, I think that he is at a point now where he is like have a down year and then we can have a conversation. He's the mold of consistency in the NFL with all of those 1,000-yard seasons in a row. But ultimately, he's 30 years old. Even last year, like I don't know how much Buccaneers football you watch, but he was so up and down with drops and just being able to like really haul it in. Like he was the type of guy that would drop like 3 passes in a game and then have like 2 touchdowns still. Like it was like so like your emotions are so high watching Mike Evans play football. It's literally crazy.
I mean, that happened in the Eagles games that I watched both times. He would like beat coverage and Baker would make a decent throw and he would drop it. And
Yeah,
I'd be
it's
like, holy
weird.
fuck, how did he just do
Yeah.
like I can't believe he just dropped that. So
Another one that I want to touch on too is Godwin. I really like Chris Godwin. I think he's probably going to be look a lot different from like removed from this knee injury, but Godwin's 28 years old and it feels like his prime is past him. At least I feel like, unless if he comes out this year and dominates. But I don't know. Like what I have one more player
he
I want to
has to
talk about, but what do you think about Godwin?
I think Godwin is when fully healthy is a phenomenal like number 2 slot receiver.
Mhm.
I think that's probably like
His ceiling?
yeah, that's he's perfect for that position as a number 2 as a slot guy. I think honestly that's kind of what I would want on an offense as like my slot receiver. But he hasn't been able to stay healthy. I don't expect to see the same version of Chris Godwin this year that we have seen. I still think we'll see like an okay version, but I don't think it's going to be anything like it used to be.
Yeah, and then real quick, we don't have to go too deep into it, but the rest of their wide receiving core, like Trey Palmer, Sterling Shepard, Jalen McMillan, Raheem Jarrett, like I just don't really love any of these guys. Their tight end room is Kate Otten, Payne Durham, and then I love Keefe. But I mean, other than that, like just don't really love that wide receiving room. And then on top of it, Rashad White is a great fantasy player because he can catch these dump offs from Baker, but he is one of the worst runners in the NFL. And I think that that's why we saw them go and get Bucky Irving. I feel like they're kind of the same player, but Rashad White's not that great of a runner.
No, he's really really bad actually. Very good catching the ball out of the backfield and really good as a receiving running back, but actually running the football, he's very bad.
So yeah, that's pretty and strengths, like I don't want to completely sit here and just absolutely dismantle the Bucks, but you have Tristan Wirfs, who is literally going to be he's going to be on the team for 20 years. Not maybe not
Yeah,
that long, but he's that great. You have Anton Whitfield. I think both of those guys are top 8 players at their position. Like they're really special. So
yeah,
I think that you do have some good young talent that you can be happy about looking at into the future.
yeah. They got a couple guys, but not not really that many.
Do you have
So
anything else that you want to get into before we go into the 2024 prediction? I'm sure you have something else, so go ahead and say what you got
yeah,
to say.
I have a couple other things. Kind of alluding to like what I was talking about with the Baker thing. Like he was horrible on first and second down this season, but like actually turned it on third and fourth down. So like that's kind of why I was like he steps up like in those bigger spots like third and fourth down when you really needed him. Not nearly consistently enough, but like he did it enough to get them to 9-8. Another thing that this Buccaneers team from last year had the fortune of was they were like the luckiest team in terms of like turnovers, fumble recoveries, field goals, like all of this stuff to the point where if they don't even come close to the numbers that they hit, they probably win 6 games. So I'm
Great
fully
insight.
expecting all of those to regress because of how high they were last year.
Negative regression.
Correct. So I I don't want to. I'm not going to go into like what I think their record's going to be yet, but I just wanted to throw those couple things in there. But it's not looking good. It's not
I
looking
complete
good, Brev.
I completely agree. My 2024 prediction right away. I think that this team is good enough to go to win 5 to 7 games. I feel like that they're going to be a middling team in the NFL, but really what it comes down to is I know that they have Baker Mayfield for a little bit. I think really my big prediction is going to be Bowles gets fired, and what they look to do is bring in some sort of offensive guru to try to make something work with Baker Mayfield. And if not, I mean, I feel like that this team is primed to just be a roster rebuild, and there's really nothing wrong with that. But that's kind of what I'm leaning towards for the Buccaneers.
Do you know the connection between how they brought in this new offensive coordinator? Like, from what I remember, like I see it's Liam Cohen. It looks
Okay.
like he was the Kent State the Kent State offensive coordinator. I could be wrong, but I don't understand where that's coming from because it's not. I don't think Kent State was like blowing teams out in the MAC. In the MAC,
Yeah, they're in
yeah,
the map.
yeah. I feel like there had to have been some type of connection between him and somebody within the Buccaneers staff to be like, oh yeah, let's bring this offensive coordinator from a MAC school in.
He was last season. He was the Kentucky offensive.
Kentucky. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a little more
So,
sense now.
so in 2021, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Kentucky. 2022, he was the offensive coordinator for the Rams. 2023, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Kentucky again, and now he's the
Right.
offensive
Okay, I do
coordinator
remember
for
this guy
NFL.
actually.
And
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and real quick, one of UMass's finest. He was a passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So don't forget that.
Okay. Well,
But
I'm about to get slandered because I said Kent State instead of Kentucky, but
yeah, that was
honestly,
crazy.
it doesn't really make much of it. All it says is Kent here. It says Kent OC.
What I am curious about, and I don't know, and what is I don't think Kentucky's offense has been like real crazy over the last few years, and ultimately, why is he hopping back and forth from pro to college like that, like back to like in a 4-year span, he went college, NFL, college,
Yeah.
NFL.
And
So
that's what I was just going to ask. Like,
I feel like you
why?
don't see that too much, like at all.
Yeah, why would they be so anxious to give this guy the head coaching job? It's not like Kentucky's
Offensive
churning out
coordinator,
offense.
yeah.
Sorry.
If you don't correct yourself, you'll get
I
hounded in the
know.
comments.
No, I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm rolling my eyes at myself because I keep fucking up. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't understand why they would be so anxious to give this guy an offensive coordinator job after already failing as an offensive coordinator, going back and forth, back and forth. And it's not
It's
like
interesting.
Kentucky's churning out top 10 defense or top 10 offenses in college football.
Yeah, and he had the Rams on his as his team that he was at, but ultimately we know that McVay is calling those plays. So, we'll see. We'll see how he looks with the Bucks, but again, I'm not high on the Buccaneers. I feel like they played above expectation last year. I feel like Canales was a big part of that. You lose him, I think you're back right to where you were the year before. This Todd Bowles hot seat confirmed for sure.
Yeah, they need to they need to bring Mike Allstott back.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So Buccaneers fans, at least you have an electric quarterback with Baker Mayfield.
Partially electric on 3rd and 4th down. But yeah, I have the Bucks going 6-11.
Sounds about right. So Bucks fans, I'm sorry. I just don't give a fuck about this team. Plain and
Bucks
simple.
fans,
Like I hate to
you
hate
have
to
a
be like
cool
that.
logo, and
This
you have
team
cool
is
throwback
just
jerseys, but that's about it.
yeah, this team is just like this team is like the definition of like roster rebuild,
Yeah.
not really a threat, and that's really the reality of it. I found it hard to find talking points about this team because no matter what, this team is not a threat to go and win the Super Bowl, and I feel like that they're not in like that fun young hungry team, like where they could potentially make a jump, I feel like that they're dead in the middle, and that's the last place that you want to be as an organization right now.
The comments will say people thought the same thing about us last year, and they won a playoff game.
Yeah, but whatever. You played the Eagles were legitimately
Played the worst team in the NFL.
So, all right. So that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's all I got for the Bucs.
Audio Jungle.